Listen very carefully. I'm not repeating this. We have 2 targets. The first is a Kedwini spy, Arnold Malaga. I want him alive. The other is Bernard Laredo, the trading post commander and a traitor to Temeria. We don't let his kind live. Arnold almost never leaves the residence, so we need to strike there. To get inside, we'll use Ves's unusual talents and Bernard's habits.
Stop calling him by his first name. It really rubs me the wrong way.
Whatever you wish. Laredo's house. The first floor contains guest quarters. Geralt had the opportunity to take a look. Regular patrols. Second floor. Laredo's bodyguards' quarters. They think they're the toughest warriors this side of the Yaruga, but really they're lame drowners dressed in colorful gambesons. Third floor, the Lion's Den. Here Laredo stores plundered valuables. It's where he sleeps, shits, and wanks off while staring at the statuette of a she-elf. Only the following are allowed to enter. Arnold Malaga, Laredo's mother, his cousin, and whores.
I'm not sure I still have that frog.
After making his round of the trading post, Laredo always orders 2 ladies. Ves will act as one of them. The house is a bloody fortress, but Laredo had it enlarged. The Witcher will enter through the extension. Ves will open a window for you. Once in, you'll have to improvise, Geralt, but you'll have the element of surprise. Ves can hold her own, too. Zenon and Rickard will cover you from vantage points. If things get hot, lure those horsens near the windows. I'll be in the courtyard with the rest, ready to enter in the extreme. I repeat, in the extreme. That's all. Any questions? No? Let's get to work.
Welcome back to another Witcher lore video. I decided to do another Witcher Guilds video today as this is the schedule that I've set up. This video is going to be pretty short because this guild isn't exactly, let's just call it fleshed out within the Witcher games. But I've used multiple sources and gathered as much information as I possibly can on this guild, so hopefully this video will cover it all for you. So today's video is on the Blue Stripes. So the Blue Stripes was Temeria's special forces. This is similar to the British SAS or the American Navy SEALs. They're effectively the kind of covert operations military branch, but they are the most elite branch of the military. So as I said, they are a branch of the Temerian army, which is the main army in Temeria. Its leader is Vernon Roach. The Blue Stripes, much like the Scoia'tael, are made up of commandos, but are assumedly not as widespread as the Scoia'tael. You can basically assume that this guild is effectively the human version of the Scoia'tael. They follow very similar tactics in what they do. They are the Scoia'tael's main opponents, I suppose you could describe it as, and the Scoia'tael are theirs. So not much is actually known about this guild, as it was created by CD Projekt Red for The Witcher 2, purely to be the human opposite to the Scoia'tael. So you had an option to choose other than the Scoia'tael. Do you support humans or elves was the clear choice they gave you. We can assume that based on their guerrilla tactics, that they were created as a way to combat the threat of the Scoia'tael, but were also most likely created as a way for Foltest to have his own secret military force, to take on special missions that normally trained soldiers simply couldn't, because they're trained in certain ways of being able to hide behind enemy lines, complete covert missions that other military branches couldn't, so they're the best of the best, is how you could describe them in the Temerian army. So the Blue Stripes are one of the most elite military forces in the Witcher universe, and before the events of The Witcher 2, they only ever had one failure, and that failure was, of course, never been able to capture the infamous elven bandit Iorveth. So the Blue Stripe Commandos themselves are made up of incredibly skilled swordsmen, the most skilled swordsmen in Temeria, at least the ones that want to join the army, the most skilled crossbowmen, also known as arbalists, and very skilled scouts that can almost move silently. They are the human equivalent of the Scoia'tael, and also some of the best interrogators in all of Temeria. They're known as using, I suppose you could say, unethical tactics in interrogations, but they get the job done. So that's all that's known about their history. It's not known who they were formed by, most likely Foltest. It's not known when they were made, most likely quite recently, but that's about all we know. Roach is their only known commander to have ever been made, and he isn't that old. So, their effect in the games. In the games, if Roach's path is chosen, you find out about Laredo's scheming with Kedwin. So disgusted by this treachery, Roach decides to thwart his plans and raid his mansion. With the Witcher Geralt's help, the Blue Stripes succeed in completing another successful mission, and not much later, set sail to support Henselt against Saskia and the non-humans. However, this unit's story ends after they are accused of conspiracy and hanged on Deathmold's order. So that's how they end. As you know from playing The Witcher 2, and if you've never played Roach's Path, you should try and play it just to get get this cool information, but they're all hanged for conspiracy against Henselt. I believe this happens whether or not you choose Roach's path, because they aren't around The Witcher 3. So, if Yorveth's path is chosen, the Blue Stripes simply flee Flotsam. They don't invade Lorido's house as they can't do it without Geralt, they just decide to leave. It's not technically a failed mission as it wasn't really their mission until Geralt chose their side, so they just leave and continue to go with Henselt. So funnily enough, in The Witcher 3, the Blue Stripes kind of return, in a way. For Roach begins his guerrilla campaign, this time against a different enemy, Nilfgaard. These new Blue Stripes aren't skilled soldiers, but they are battle-hardened Temerian army survivors. So what I mean by that is they could be skilled in their own way, but they're by no means the Blue Stripes. They're not going to be trained to be any better than the Blue Stripes were. They're probably not going to be on the same level as they won't have had as much time. I mean, The Witcher 3 only takes place 6 months after the end of The Witcher 2, so these soldiers are just going to have the basic abilities to be a soldier, maybe have some light training, but nothing on the Blue Stripe scale. So it's actually very possible that if peace is made with Nilfgaard and Temeria becomes a free state, that Roach may actually make the Blue Stripes. But as of yet, their future is unclear. So as I said, this video was going to be a short one as nothing is really known about this guild, nothing's really expanded upon, and I've gathered every piece of information I can. So members of this guild is what I would like to end on. So to begin with, there is their captain, Vernon Roach, their second in command, Vess, Fen, Igo, Oven, Sheridan, Silas, 13, Shortly, and Finch. So they're all the known members of this commando. We don't know if there's more commandos or it's just the one that Roach owns. It's very, very, lightly touched upon. You don't learn a lot about them through Geralt's experience in the games. But anyway, that's the end of today's video. I'm sorry it's not been a particularly long one, but I hope you've learned something new if you never picked Roach's side, or you didn't know this about the Temerian Blue Stripes. This seems to be a common thing with anything CD Projekt Red creates. They give the basic information that serves the purpose of the game, but beyond that, they don't really expand upon their history. But anyway, I suppose it's just because there's a lot in the books and they don't have time to add a full story behind each of these guilds. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed today's video. As always, be sure to follow my Twitter. Updates come on there automatically as I post videos. I'm also going to do some Q&As, so if you follow me on there, you'll get the notifications, then you might even get your name in the videos of the Q&As. Because I'll be sure to post your Twitter names and stuff if you ask me a question and I want to answer it. Also, be sure to comment your video suggestions down below as it really, really does help me. And I just like seeing them. You can get your comments actually on the start of the videos, as you've seen a couple of times. A lot of suggestions come up a lot, and I will try and get to them, but the next video, I think everybody watching right now will be pleasantly surprised. At least the next lore video. Be sure to follow my Twitch. I've streamed Ark on there recently. I've had so much fun with you guys. I've done Gwent versus you guys, played the Halo campaigns, about to start Halo 1, and as always, a big thank you to the Patreon pledges. You guys are honestly the best. You all have the rank of Grandmaster in Discord, as we know. But anyway, big thanks to all the Patreon pledges. You guys are the best. It really helps support me. If any of you want to donate to me on Patreon and support the channel and get your name at the end of every single video I do, and also get the rank of Grandmaster on the Discord, which is now, I think, 160 members, and the chat isn't too hectic, but we have really, really fun times on there. I also post my new videos on there and the thumbnails a little bit earlier, so you guys get a cool idea of what I'm doing. But anyway, I'll see everybody later. Have an awesome week, guys.